Welcome to another episode of Street Ride. This is your boy Rick, and today we're going to be installing the P3 gauge with the ethanol option. This gauge allows you to keep an OEM look, sleek design right inside your AC vent. It fits perfectly for your B9. So let's jump straight into this install and go over what you're going to need. So firstly, what you're going to need is your P3 sensor voltage adapter. Then you're going to need your ethanol content sensor. This is a GM Continental version. You'll need your P3 box, and you'll need your P3 gauge display, which comes in the kit with the control box. Next, what we're going to need to do is get some clamps from any hardware store. I like to get multiple options of clamps. Then you're going to need to get some heat shrink wrap, butt connectors if you want to use a stripper and butt connectors, or you can go the solder and soldering iron way. I will actually be using the butt connectors as I didn't really have the solder type that I wanted to do this install. Next, you'll need to also create your own wire run here. I just took some red, blue, and black wire because the store did not have white wire. So when I connect to the white wire, I'll actually be connecting the blue to the white. I have about 12 feet worth of cable here. It's a little overkill, but we're gonna need to make sure we have enough to run from one side of the engine bay to the other side and through the firewall. Inside the engine bay, we're gonna connect the ethanol content sensor, and you can see the white wire there that I'm gonna use to connect to the blue wire. On this wire, I've went ahead and connected the butt connectors on one end of the wire. This part of the wire will go into the vehicle through the firewall. Now, first, let's get our ethanol content sensor and disconnect it from the clip. We're gonna strip the red, white, and black wires, and we're gonna connect them to our homemade wire. Make sure you use heat shrink wrap so that you can keep your connection secure and dry. Check to make sure all your connections are tight. You don't want anything coming loose, and then you got to search down a open wire somewhere. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to take our ethanol P3 sensor voltage adapter, and we're going to tape it to the control box on the back side. I saw this done on an install video before. I really like the clean idea of it, so we're going to do that here. After that's nice and taped, we're going to go ahead and find our blue and brown wire off of the ethanol sensor voltage adapter, and we're going to strip those so that we can connect them to our analog 1 and analog 2 wires, which are going to be blue and brown coming off of the control box. Once those are connected, I want to show you what you'll have to do once you're in the vehicle. So what you'll need to do is follow this diagram to get power or energize your ethanol content sensor in the engine bay. The way this will work is that the ethanol content sensor in the engine bay will have in my case blue, but in your case white, red, and black wires going into the firewall. Then from the firewall, they'll come in and you'll just go ahead and connect the white wire to the voltage sensor adapter that is going to be taped to the back of the control box. Then you're going to go ahead and splice in the red and black wire from the voltage adapter into the red and black wire from our wire harness that we made. Then from there, you're going to take the red and black wire, that should also include the red and black wire from the voltage adapter, and connect it to the red and black wire between the P3 control box and the OBD2 plug. The OBD2 plug will go ahead and provide power, 12 volts, to our ethanol voltage adapter and our ethanol content sensor. So that's how you do that. I hope this diagram is a lot clearer than what I was trying to show you in video form. Alright, so what I like to do is wrap everything in black tape. This is just a preference for me. It's not a requirement, but I feel like it keeps things nice and tight and clean. And again, it's something that I've always practiced. If you are wrapping your wires before connecting them in the vehicle, make sure you don't wrap up the parts that you need to make the connection inside the vehicle. Now, inside the engine bay, what I attempted to do was use double-sided 3M tape to tape it to this strut tower here. It actually doesn't hold. I end up zip tying it to the strut brace across the top. You can try it, but make sure you clean it with alcohol. For me, it didn't work. So yeah, so now find your fuel line that comes into the vehicle, and you're gonna go ahead and cut it. I use the carpenter knife, whatever tool you have to cut it. Just be careful, you will splash fuel, as you'll see right here. Splash fuel. Make sure you wipe up all excess fuel. After you go ahead and cut it, you can pull off this little shield off of this hose here. You're gonna want to pull it off both sides. I believe I only did it on one, I don't remember. Go ahead and put your clamp on, because this is where your ethanol content sensor is gonna go. Go ahead and slide in your ethanol content sensor and tighten down your clamps. And make sure they're nice and tight, you don't want any fuel leaks. And there you go, you can see how I had stuck the strut tower. Next, you're gonna go into the vehicle here, and you're gonna drop down the glove box. I call it a glove box, and there's a couple screws in here. I've already removed them, so I'm just showing you where they were at. I forgot the size that they were, but they're common. I think they were just Torx. I'll put it down below what size it is. And you see the other location there, right in front of the knee airbag. Then you'll use your interior tool, pry tool, whatever you want to call it, pop off the side, and there'll be 2 screws in here as well. And you're gonna remove those as well. There's one still in there I didn't remove. And then there should be another one right above it. There they are. Take your trim tool and pop that off where the control is. Make sure you disconnect the wire. Don't yank it too hard. And there's another screw behind that. And one more on the right hand side. Once you do that, you're gonna need to pry, just separate that there so they can come down and the vent will be able to come right out. And there you go, right on out. Now be careful, because there is another wire on the back side of this. And you'll need to disconnect that as well. There it is. Now I used a hanger to pull through the firewall. You can see there's a grommet there. Made a small incision, slid the hanger through there, and I just pull it on the other side. Now I will show you where I ran the wire under the rain trim. I like to use wire looms, just a little bit cleaner, and I wire loomed with blue just to match the car, and I slid it under the rain trim, as you can see there. Just trying to clean up the install. It's up to you. It does avoid the 1,000-degree engine though. And I wire loomed right up to where the incision came in, and see here, you can see that I pull the hanger through here. Careful when you do it, because you don't want it to slide off. Now I already showed you the diagram on how to do this part inside the vehicle, so you're going to do that, what I showed you on the diagram, and then you'll connect all your other color connections up. So it's pretty much simple. There's going to be a couple wires you don't use unless you have those options. I didn't have those options, so I didn't use it. So let's now look at the trim and how to install the display into our vent here. So there are a few clips around the vent that you're going to use a flat tip screwdriver to separate them. This display is what's going to go in between the top and bottom slack. So let's start by getting these clips loosened. You'll probably have to do it a couple times, as they'll try to snap back while you try to pull out the vent there. There is a small wire that connects to itself there. It runs through the trim. You go ahead and remove that, and then once you've successfully loosened all the clips, you'll be able to slide the vent out of the trim. Now that you have the vent in hand, you're going to want to unsnap the vent slacks on the left side, well, closest to the shut control. They just pop straight up, so just use a screwdriver or a flat tip to pop them straight up, and then you'll be able to remove the vents. If you are concerned with the order on which the vents go back in. Audi did a nice little favor for us and marked the vent with knots. There is a small little metal trim piece that holds them together. We won't be using that, but see, that one has knot 1, that has 2, so that's the second one, and then there is 3. So we know we're only going to use 1 and 3, so go ahead and remove 2 because our display will take the place of 2, and we're not going to reuse that metal piece as this display already has it attached. For demonstration purposes, I'm going to show you how they just slide in, but you don't have to worry about doing this part yet because we need to run the display cable through the vent. So let's go ahead and run the cable through the vent. You're going to run it as far to what looks like my right as possible. That way the vent can still close. Opposite side of the control for the vent. Run it all the way on the far side, and then you can pull it out there. Now you can go ahead and attach your slacks, AC slacks, vents, whatever you want to call them. Then you're going to slide the little notches through the holes on the one side and then snap them in on the other. Now you are ready to put the vent back inside of the trim piece and then reinstall everything in the reverse order that we took them out. Make all your connections and then hide your box somewhere under your dash. Here's the end result.